Alright, your Specsintact Learner Guide Series Quick Start Numeric, Chapter 4, Editing Your Job. In this chapter, you will learn pre-editing tailoring options, how to open a section with the Specsintact Editor, toggling on-screen elements using the toolbar, inserting tags using the tag bar, how to use revisions while editing, how to use formatted tables while editing, shortcuts for removing the tags and text. The time has finally arrived, and armed with the knowledge you've gained, you're already now ready to tackle the editing of the first section. Taking the printed sections that have marked up your engineering, you can use the Specsintact editor to make those changes, sections, and files in your job. Do so, you always start opening with a job in Specs Explorer. Alright, from Specs Explorer, click Job. Folder in the left pane will display the sections in the right pane. Use one of the following open sections. Use one of the following to open the sections you want to edit the spec editor. Alright, click the section once in right pane, then click the edit button on this toolbar. Or click section once on the right pane, then click the sections menu and choose edit. Double-click the section in the right pane using any of the methods section you select will open the Specsintact editor. Alright, welcome to the Specsintact editor. Learn your way around. You can access all the functions you need to do by your editing using the editor menus in the toolbar tag. File, edit, view, insert, format, tools, windows, help. Many common commands are accessible for both menus in the toolbar. A number of them are familiar Windows standard functions such as cut, copy, and paste. Others, such as the commands show to hide screen elements like tags, notes, and revisions, are specific to Specs Indicator Specsintact editor. You have your part, subpart, title, text, list, item, meta, reference, title number, subs, URI. Using the buttons in the tag menu pair to select it, you can either insert tabs to type the information between them, or type the information first and then select and click in tag and insert the tags around it. Always using the button on the tags bar, insert the pair of selected tags. You can either insert the tags at the type of the information between them, and then type the information, or tag the information first and then select, then click the tag button to insert tags around it. The tag bar can be customized. You can display the tags you use frequently by clicking downward and arrow to the end of the bar and checking the unchecking of the tag name. Exclamation point. Always edit with your tag visible on the screen. You can turn off tags and check the formatting when you make any changes. You must see the tags, follow the rule with to prevent major errors. Use of this button is the toggle and off switch. It's the little yellow button with the light glasses. Alright, in Chapter 3, we introduced the concept of tailoring. We waited pre-edit sections with the master text prepared with the marked up information, the tailoring tags, if-in sections of the tailoring option. You can choose to leave or remove information from the tailor option tags either throughout the entire job of the selected sections without opening any of the section editor elements to manually edit the information in each section. Especially important that you understand the tailoring since it's displayed in the creating of a new job master. It's important to know that 013300 submit procedural section does not contain agency-specific tailoring options that should be taken care of as soon as possible. Alright, this shows the tailoring section at the jobs. You see the Army, Construction Design, Navy, and NASA. Or you can tailor your entire job by using Specs in Text Explorer File Menu Tailoring Command. You can tailor the selected section by using Specsintact Explorer Command and Tailor Command. If you open the section Specsintact Editor with the tailoring option dialog will appear automatically, so you can choose the options or show or hide. The tailoring options can also be chosen from the editor view menu, and the options for the tools and menu options save and tab where you indicate when you want software to do with the tailoring options. They're hidden when you choose close the section, retain them, delete them, warn before deleting. The default is set and warn before deleting. If you do not want to permanently delete the tailor options from the section, make sure you select no when prompted. Viewing a section. Alright, tags, notes, and units of measurement. By looking at an example, you can see the advantages of total tags, toggling the tags off to check the formatting. Just remember to turn them back on before you begin to edit again. When you look at the section for the tags hidden, only the content is available in the example. You'll see the section number, the section title, and the date. And the teal triangle left margin indicates the note is hidden as well. Alright, here's the same information tags displayed. You can see the section meta tags now visible. Additional tags are surrounding section number, section title, date. Teal triangle indicates notes is hidden below. Notes is hidden. So go section name, meta name, subformat, content new, section name, and then section title, and date. Alright, use this button to view and hide the contents of all the notions of section when reviewed. Note text appear in bold and set apart with the other text in row with the asterisks above below. To view the contents in single hidden note, click the teal triangle in the note's contents display in the in a pop-up box. Units of measurement. You can determine which units of measurement, English, metric, or bold, you want to display on the screen while editing using the option of the tab for the new job tag box. However, if you want to change the display editing, you can do so with the Editor View menu. Keep in mind you do not need to remove the type of the measurement and tags that you do not use when the job is processed and printed, and only containing the type of the measurements where it was chosen. Alright, begin editing while tags are visible. This is it. You're sitting at the computer. You have the first section you want to edit open on screen. The editor you have printed a copy that has been marked with the change by the engineer. You determine whether the notes are required to show the additions, deletions by revision feature. The time has come to edit. So with the tags visible on screen, you can locate the first change and indicate it with the marked copy. Here's an exercise you can do to understand why it's vitally important only to edit when the tags are displayed. Use the toggle tag between hide and tag keys on the screen. Place your cursor just to the left of the part. Now use the toggle buttons again to display the tags on the screen. Look at where your cursor is sitting. Okay. As you can see, the illustration of the cursor is now on the left of the part of the tag as might have expected. Actually, the left ending of the tag is previous subpart. Begin editing, inserting articles, paragraphs, and subparagraphs. Let beginning with learn how to add articles, paragraphs, subparagraphs. As learned with the earlier chapter, each of these themes as subpart or SPT tag, and adding new subparts with the outcome depending on the placement of the cursor. So let's get started. Well, we will begin adding the new article part 3, which we will we want 3.1. Tagging the varies depending on whether you're beginning where you're at the beginning of the part. At the bottom will illustrate the different scenarios for the inserting articles, otherwise known as subparts. Add a new article at the beginning of the part. The place of the cursor over the beginning of the subpart 3.1, but press the subpart button on the tag bar. Alright, before subpart, place the cursor here. After, subpart 2.5, 3.1, 3.2, notice the illustration above the new subpart and is now 3.1, existing conditions become 3.2. Begin editing. Now that we have learned to add new article at the beginning of the part, how to learn to insert the new articles at the end of the new article at 3.9. Adding a new article at the end of the part, the place for the cursor between the ending subpart tag at 3.8 and the ending subpart tag at part 3. Then press subpart button on the tag bar. Remember, articles, subparagraphs, and subparagraphs all share the same subpart tag. Alright, we've learned how to add article at the beginning and the end of the part. Now it's time to learn how to add a new paragraph. Adding new subparts will become easier to continue to build your basic skills. So let's go on. Adding a new paragraph. Place your cursor left at the end of the subpart at 3.9, and then press the subpart paragraph button in the tag. If some reason the number did not reflect the subpart number, it should have used the undo button on the toolbar and try again. Alright, so we went to 3.1. We've moved our thing to the 3.1. Now it's become 3.11. Before that, before the 3.9. Alright. Beginning editing. Inserting articles, paragraphs, and subparagraphs. Your training is almost complete. The last level of learning, inserting a subparagraph. Adding a new subparagraph with the cursor to the left at the ending of the subpart tag 361, then the subpart tag button on the tags. Place your at the ending of the subpart tag, and then place your cursor here and push the tag button for the subpart. You should come up with 36111. Unified Facility Guideline Specification Format Documentation UFC 1300-02 provides example of the method in which the subpart numbering can extend past the fourth level of the method of sparing with caution. Switching between numeric and alphanumeric format will translate the correct format, will not automatically renumber. This is because the combination of list tag and item tags are used in the not supported alphanumeric format. Alright, editing tips. If you delete some of the information between the existing tags, don't delete the tags. An example would be, if you delete some of the information between the existing tags, don't delete the tags. An example would be text. Floor covers shall be maintained in good condition. Text cover or two. Floor covers shall be maintained. When you remove the words in good condition, you must be careful not to remove the ending of the closing tag, text tag. If you want to remove the information completely, you would remove both the beginning and ending text tag, as well as doing one of the following: selecting all the information, both beginning and the end of the beginning and end tags, hitting the delete key, checking the space, placing the cursor on the immediate left of the beginning of the text tag, hold down the shift key while hitting delete, and check spacing. Double-click mention selecting text illustrated in Chapter 6. And the general rule is one blank line between the paragraphs. Alright, Sally's attention. After editing few sections, it is highly recommended that they check with your editing skills, running reconciliation and report spot errors before you repeated every section of your job. You continue these tools periodically as your job progresses. You shouldn't be faced as many problems to correct at the end of the line where you're trying to get your completed on the deadline. Follow the procedures you within the report outlined in Chapter 5 of the 6 and process all sections of the job, even if you haven't edited them. Even if you haven't edited them all, you only need to look at correct errors on the report found with the section you can actually edit, but ignore the others if the sections have been edited. Correct them along with the way will save the time and edit at the end. Alright, Sally, a common mistake made by new users is deleting text between tags, but leaving in the tags. Do not leave them behind empty tags. Alright, text replacement methods. Using bracketing and tailoring options. Brackets found with the master text they provide within the ability to choose among the several option information. In some cases, empty brackets indicative the fill necessary bracketed choice section must be resolved before the final submission of the job. They can be located by using the bracket replacement or the brackets in the bracket replacement button on the toolbar. The function will locate each set of brackets and give you the opportunity to choose the bracketed text, enter in new text. Alright, this shows the bracket replacement button is at binoculars with brackets. Geotextile sample. The testing sample should be submitted with a minimum of 30, 60, 90, or blank days prior to the beginning of the installation of geotextiles. We discussed earlier the tailoring option made with the specification editing easier, provided the way to include excluding blocks information that have been enclosed with the tailoring tags master specification writers. That gives you the ability to easily eliminate requirements that do not pertain with the job without adding the manual section. However, if you haven't used the tailoring present pre-editing options available, the Specsintact and Explorer may come across the text like with this round of the tailoring option and not too late with the editor's tailoring function described earlier in this chapter. The return of the Specsintact Explorer from tailoring the section on the job level either way was meant to be the same time saver. Alright, this shows the tailoring option of the equal to gasoline automatic pump control shall conform to request item reference item did NFPA 20 close reference item tailoring option text. Major difference exists when it comes to using the 3-2 functions of revision. The editing deletion brackets will be marked off as removed and marked as revisions. Adding and deletions with brackets will be marked as revisions. When you remove tailoring options, they will not be marked as revisions. Or the use of the revision feature call with close attention, especially since the standard set before ever being editing with the first section of the job, you need to know that you are required to show revisions. You are using the revision need to show information added to deleted with the actual executing change. If you know that you do not have the use the revisions, why set up the job? You can't disable the options. New job dialogue box discussed earlier in Chapter 2. Just how does this feature work? Here's a portion of the text that has been edited with revisions. Text of the publication listed revision of the deletion and below is marked out with the part of the specification and the reference to publication referred to the deletion of the and the added there and because of the description of the text only. The word below was deleted with the trailing space of the revision enabled and solved, removing the word and instead of the surrounding deleting tags displayed red strike through them. This indicates the text is tagged for deletion. The word there was replaced with the word surrounding add tags and displayed with the green underline indicating that they had been added. Avoid deleting additional partial words. Do this will make proof readiness easier, less complex. When I toggle the revisions question and answers. When I toggle the revision of view off, I have all these gaps between the words and paragraphs. What am I doing wrong? To avoid gaps, you need to make sure that you are including trailing spaces and head-hard returns in your red lines. Using revisions complicated with editing. With revisions, some must pay close attention to include the markup. Alright, check. You will learn more about a revision in Chapter 6, but the using shortcuts key and double-click method of highlighting. To remove the tags without removing their content, you can use one of the two methods. Either right-click and choose Remove Tags or use Control-M. Alright, user's revision. Reversing and executing from the editor. But if you want to change something that has been marked from with either add or deleting tags, the function of the reverse each of the Specsintact editor on the edit menu, you find these two commands. Undeleted red line revision from the delete tag, leave the text and it has been marked with deletion red strike. Delete added revision, remove the add tags, remove the text from that has been added with the green text. You can use these two commands. Remove the only one occurrence by selecting and clicking the corresponding command to reverse it. Remove the all occurrences in the section, clicking the appropriate command without any of the text selected. Or the execute revisions command with the editor makes permanent and all the changes making use of the revision feature. The action cannot be reverse undo command with it must be certain that there no longer need markup revisions. Alright, in Chapter 5 we will cover how the execute revision's entire job of the selected section from the Specsintact Explorer prior to the finalizing your job. On the Specsintact editor edit menu, you will find an execute revisions command. The execute revision, both add and delete, will open in section. Click the execute revision command. When marked revisions are executed, the changes will become permanent, and add and delete tags will be removed along with the red strikes and green underlining the changes that now appear with the regular text carrying the attributes of the tag that encloses it. Or exclamation point. Make sure to back up the job local master before using the executing revision command. Learn more about the backup feature in Chapter 6. Alright, formatted tables introduced in the Specsintact version 4.3.0821. Those formatted tables observe close attention with the unique breed with the design, specifically with the Specsintact editor. Before you begin with the formatted tables, you need to ensure everyone working within you version of 4.3.0821 higher. Learn more about all the table functionality being going into the Specsintact helping browsing and insert a tab menu. Specsintact will continue to support older style tables using TBL tags indefinitely. Specsintact formatted tables allow you to design professional tables that organize text data rows, columns, text cells. Being using the table menu, choose insert table to select the formatted table button from the Specsintact editor tags bar. Press the F5 key. Alright, this shows you're inserting a table, number of the columns, number of the rows, number of the header of the rows, showing the borders or border style. When inserting a formatted table, you have several options available. You can choose how many columns and how many rows you need, as well as how many rows should be head rows and head rows that will be printed on each shape, but the table cannot fit on the page. Do not confuse Specsintact formatted tables with Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel. Alright, using tables. Using formatted tables. Before you begin editing the new formatted table, it's important that they understand how they function. Specsintact formatted tables are unique, readily specifically designed Specsintact editor and tag editor. There are several menus items available while working with a table, either choosing the table drop-down menu or taking advantage of the right-click menus. Caution: in order to save edits and tables, the cursor must be in the blank cell or outside the table. As you learn either the chapter defaulting set up your visions, and another important detail to note is how to handle formatted tables requires lots of that require a lot of edits. Rather than add or delete tags through the edited cells, consider copying an entire table, pasting it below existing the formatted table. This way the table will be surrounded one set of add tags, which will make it easier to edit once the edit tables can please remember to delete it. The edit mode is activated by the left clicking cell. Alright, the couple of these things you need to be aware of while working on the edit mode. When the tags are present, the color attribute isn't visible. The merged and unmerged features are not available from the tab in the menu unless the two or more cells are selected with the cell as merged cell. Alright, these are the menus options available for the changing the entire table. Justify set background color, clear the background color, insert, delete, make all rows same height width, import XML, import XML spreadsheet, export, show columns, headers, select tables and properties. Right-click menus while editing the formatted tables faster than either, but the same things you need to know about these menus. The first menu is activated with simply placing the mouse cursor over the row include cell with the right-click with the mid-table menu. Alright, using tables, using formatted tables. You can also use the second menu, which is the editing menu. The menu also performs some of the basic editing functions as well as the table menu illustrated. Alright, from your editing menu, you get a cut, copy, paste, delete, undeleted, red line version, deleted, added revisions, remove all the revisions, property, select table, show them columns, how I highlight either row or cell in the table. Select the rows in the cell, but it can be done in two ways. The first method is done by holding down the left button, mouse, and while dragging the pointer over the text or cell. Second method you can use to select a row, column, left the serial, hold the shift key, and collect the additional cells. In Chapter 6, we give some of the additional tips using tables. In order to look at the tags, toggle the tag, make the table editing less complicated. We will recommend you turning off view tags command. This goes against the general rule of keeping tags visible while editing, but will make the table editing easier. As soon as you will complete your table editing, make sure you view tags command back on, as well as unit all the text has been entered in the table before you add your checks and references, submittals, etc. Or formatting, parts and capitalization. One of the keys Specsintact successfully correcting format. Note that it is only important with the Specsintact properly with the agency server. The Specsintact required in Chapter 3 will cover the basic three parts, each of the sections as well as the article, paragraphs, unless as needed to review the material again if you begin with the editing. Keep the structure and vital producing correctly formatted job. Alright, while editing section division 02 through 49, do not delete any of these parts, but if you need them, if they are not applicable to the section, you must remain in the job followed by the next line words not using the title without appearing surrounded by the text tags. Alright, with the tags visible, part title 3, execution title, text not used, text closed. With the hidden tags, part 3, execution not used. Capitalization should be consistent throughout the job, including the initial letter of the certain specific nouns and proper nouns. Some examples will be contracting officer referring to the representative of the government agency authority to make the decision. Government of the government agency as part of the contractor, and the contractor referring to the contractor whose party to party to owner contract agreement. Alright, formatting, text and numerals. Formatting the numbers. Spell out the feet when no inches are used. Spell out the inches when no feet is used. When using both feet and inches, it's permissible to use the 8 by 8 quote 8 inches, 8 and 2.5 inches. Spelled out. A complete dimension must appear online due to the non-separable standard designation must appear on one line. Does not separate. ASTM C278 NSI ASME A171. Use a number when possible. Always dimension when defining both quantity of the dimension written reward over the quantity of the number of the dimension of these three 1.5 inch holes. Always always use figure of degrees percent in money, 3 inches by 5 inches, 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 20 degrees Celsius, 20% of 550. The decimal should be expressed in figures as 6.235. Qualities less than 1 or 0, less than 1 or 0 should be used before the decimal point. To maintain uniformity through the specification fraction type, there should be used individual keys rather than limited number of the fractions from provided with the standard keyboard 1/4, 1/2. Omit unnecessary zeros in time and money reference. Omit unnecessary zeros in time and money references 290 p.m. Following tags control the text appearance. H1, HL1 underline, HL2 italic, HL3 bold, HL4 center. Do not confuse these HL tags with all allows you to highlight the text in orange for screen display draft printing through the editor. When the publishing PDF, the tag can be used to call the attention to particular text specification and being prepared with the highlighting HLS tag. No effect for the file preceding the section. Alright, question and answer. If I use the highlight tag throughout many of the sections, draw the attention to the area of the project manager needs review, can I remove when having to go through the entire set without going through the entire section? As a matter of fact, the Specsintact gives you capability of removing the highlighted tags from the entire job section. As for jobs inspections, job or sections, right click and choose the option remove, change, or highlight highlighted tags. Or formatting, using measuring symbols. Keep in mind that these are guidelines that may not work in all situations. Should always check the spacing visually, especially at the beginning and the end of the sentence. When formatting metric and English requirements, certain spacing works, be ensured that the formatting the right with one or other measurement hidden, especially done with the printing. Following example, the underscore indicates one space. Alright, for the mid replacement, your text meta 3 or 10 inches, 10 feet. English, your text. But it fails to start the sequence on 13 millimeters population at the end of the sentence. But it falls at the start of the sentence, found in the midline sentence, or punctuation outside of the end. Symbol no. Because of the potential problem, the following should be written instead of using symbols. Percentage, not percent, degree, plus, minus, by, and per, and at. Alright, formatting rules, notes. The NTE, or when you need the insert a note with a note button located with the tags bar, this will insert the note tags and asterisk AST tags. The note paragraph tags are followed by the word note, colon, double colon is inserted with a new line immediately below the previous note blank line between. Here's the note looks like, and this text inserted. Note, and AST, the note, the NPR, or the note paragraph, the note inserted with the grade of the combo. Insert the grade or class for the compost suitable for the service required. Include the local state regulation defined class grade compost, local state regulation defined grade class. Insert requirement screening to limit the particle size. Note note paragraph asterisk close that and close note. Alright, when notes are hidden, only the color triangle symbol is visible. Clicking on the symbol will display the note context in a box like this. When you print the notes visible, it looks like this. Note, insert the grade or compost suitable with the surface of the grade. Insert local state regulation and defining the grade or compost. Local state regulation do not find the grade or class. Insert requirement screening and limited with the particle size. Our reference. In Chapter 3, we discussed tags related to reference. You may need to review the information as you edit. If the following you find an overview, you need to know how to add and delete information and tags relating to references as you edit your sections. It may help you understand the reference better to know what the end of the result which will be, but the job to describe the reference article section will contain the following tagged information only from the references used in the section. Sponsoring organization or tag, reference indicator RID tag, reference title RTL. The reference closed with the reference org as asphalt org. Throughout the rest of the section, only reference identifiers are used. Reference identifiers are the content in pink. If you place your mouse pointer over the reference indicator, a tip box will with the corresponding information will display. Unified Master Reference org ASTM 2005 Portland Cement. Alright, in Chapter 5, we'll explain more about processing your code to make of 0142 in sources reference publication section unique for your job while creating the unique reference article in each of the section. Characters, limits, organization of 511 characters, reference ID 30 characters, reference title 300 characters. Alright, you're using reference words. Remember that you learned in Chapter 3 that they're only reference-related tags. Information appearing for the selection section text offside reference article is your reference identifier. Adding a reference has been simplified. Introduction with the Specsintact editor reference wizard. Place your cursor through the reference indicator. Should go through the click of the corresponding button, the tags bar, or reference indicator. The reference will open and does not go into the editor menu. Clicking option, choose the reference tab. Click on the checkbox reference wizard 2. The wizard will display the master reference in the left pane. 1. Click the reference list you want to display in the organization. Double-click the organization. Click the reference list you want to use to display the organization. Display the organization. Display the reference indicator with the title. With their titles, double-click on the reference indicator you want to insert. If this reference indicator corresponds to information does not found in the reference article, you will be prompted to insert it. Click yes and return the reference article so they conform the action as well as scroll down text where you are inserted with the reference indicator continuing editing. Or the reference wizard auto open feature with disabled. Clicking down will show the wizard again box at the bottom of the wizard. The use of empty tag checkbox on the bottom of the wizard will allow you to insert set tags you want without any of the content between them. Or then show the reference wizard selected indication indicator. You can choose one or more listed reference and indicators. Clicking them in the right plane and then Shift key with the making sequential selection and Control key to choose the separated selection. Alright, when you choose the reference tag in the wizard, they'll include the organization tag surrounded with the name of the supporting organization plus the request indicator. Reference title tag does not select the corresponding information for these reference indicator. Reference tag title tags will be accompanied with the selected reference. If you select the reference indicator, you will be accompanied with the corresponding reference title. Alright, removing and checking. Moving references. Moving the reference of the not using the section easier than adding. Removing a reference that are not using the section easier than adding one. Since one of the reference related to the tag information that appears on your section outside of the reference article, the reference identifier, you'll need to remove the unwanted reference identifier tag of the contents for the text. If you use very important, the reference identifier text and the reference article are identical to enable the processing to work correctly. Inserting those with using the reference wizard will help. You do not remove anything with the reference for this section will handle it automatically later with the selection reconciliation during the job processing. Having said that, the one exemption of this rule show the revisions that if you're using revisions, you are required to show the deletions of the reference article, and you can edit them manually to accomplish this. Alright, reference indication number ASTCD 150, that's in pink closed brackets. To check the reference identification against the match for reference list, position your cursor between the reference indicator tags. Click the editor's tool menu, choose the check the reference and right click. The check occurs automatically when you added the reference indicator to detect the section using the reference wizard. Chapter 5 we'll discuss how the reference during the processing of your job. Chapter 6 will help you make the correction based on the question and answer report result. Alright, submittals. When covering the tag submittal with the Chapter 3, it's important to keep the information in mind for the edited overview what you need to know when editing submittal tag and their content in blue. It may be helpful to understanding editing submittals before you know the editing result where your job is processed. Submittal articles, each of the section will contain the following information. Submittals used in the select section, the ST number, the description of submittal items. As you can see, the example, the list and item tags are used and provided with proper formatting. Listing subdomain 03 product list, the manufacturer catalog data submitted with the following. Could be piping concrete item item closed brackets on those. And, blue text is your submittal tags are in blue. Of the text of the selection outside of the submittal articles, only submittal items are used. Submittal items cable support closed submittal items. Create a unique submittal article with each of the section allow for the information extracted from the submittal register. Chapter will explain more about the processing when it occurs 013300 submittal procedure section, how submittal registers is produced. There are 11 different categories of submittal called submittal description identified with the SD number or submittal description number followed by the title. They are found in the submittal article each of the section within the submittal listed under each of the text section only as a submittal item the entry with exactly listed as submittal article and surrounded by submitted subtags. Alright, you have your SD submittal design description 01 prescription 3 construction submittal design shop drawings 02 submittal design 03 product data submittal design 04 samples submittal design 05 design data submittal design description test reports submittal design 07 certificates submittal design description 08 manufacturing instructions submittal design 09 manufacturing field reports submittal description operating maintenance data submittal design 11 closing submittals. Alright, your submittal classification includes the government approval required for the submittal item appears the submittal article, the submittal of the reference for the text approval of the listing of the submittal article show file with the submittal semicolon one space and set of subtags containing the letter G illustrated below makes sure that it inside of the same set of the item tags the submittal item with the submittal item now classification is considered for the information only. Submittal class closed submittal sub G or your valid submittal classification specs code number NO FIO for information only. Your code Specsintact code G is for given the code GA or government approval. Specsintact code D the designer DA encodes DA designer recorder record approval. Specsintact code C and code C are governmental conformance review of the design. Specsintact code R codes DA and CR design record approval of the government conformance review of the design. Spec code intact code A, DA, and GA design of record approval and government approval. Our reviewers are also only listed subarticle with the need of the indication of the reviewer to do the same set of subtags found in the classification G, one separately with either space with column pipe symbol or dash insert of the 5 characters, item subpair and Florence Labs closed subpair sub G A and E sub close sub Alright, adding submittals. Remember that you've learned in Chapter 3 submittals are listed under the corresponding submittal description containing the SD number's name with the Part 1 below the submittal article with the surrounding the submittal tag submit and the / submit. Within them, the items within the set of item tags, submittal items appear with a submittal tag with the SD number that should be used with only one principal subpart with the technical section, such as an article, paragraph, subparagraph within the text. They are not case sensitive. Alright, to insert a submittal tag, use the submittal key button. Removing submittals. Using the reference article, you can edit the submitted article. Therefore, you remove the submittal item with the submittal article. You must also remove the text along with the beginning of the editing submittal tags and the ending of the submittal tags. Vice versa. If you remove the submittal item from the text, then you must remove the submittal article along with the tags. In some instances, you need a particular submittal item. You do not need to keep the submittal supporting text stated above. Deleting submittal items in the submittal article for as long with the tags. One of this is done with below the submittal item found with the body with the section. But in the case rather than deleting submittal item, you also need to remove the beginning and ending of submittal with the sub and sub slash forward slash sub outline below. Removing tags with revisions. Place the cursor between the sub and sub tags. Right click and choose remove tags. Or keyboard shortcut Control M. Remove the tags without revisions. Place the cursor on the left side of the subtag, beginning subtag, and press the delete key. One of the engineer gave it the submittals an item of the item to add section he has said belong with the ST19 possible. No, since the agency's adopted unified submittal description only 11 listed earlier in the chapter 013311. Submittal procedure section may be used in Specsintact Web's knowledge base of the SIKSC NAS and Gov ULC Tech Help into HTML. Contains conversion chart with the older numbers. Our post-editing tips. Now that you have made a text changes in time to move up to the automated process to make the Specsintact unique. Before you do there's a few things you need to check. After editing the section, check the formatting. Hiding on all screen elements won't appear over the printed document tag revision note formatting marks in which unit of measure, but they're not using the job well. Also, while these hidden visual text formation sections should be one on blank line between the paragraphs. Before making any changes to adjust the format, do not forget to turn the tags back on to avoid inadvertently deleting any of them. Alright, your spec, or support problems encountered commonly. I have a table in Microsoft Excel that needs to be added with my section. Can this be done? Amanda in Albany. As a matter of fact, Amanda, it can. The first, you must prepare the section adding the format table to match with the number of the rows and columns of the Access worksheet. Once the table has been added, right-click and choose the Import XML spreadsheet. For the specific file name of the dialog box, browse to the XML spreadsheet, then select Open. Keep in mind that there's important understanding formatting the Excel spreadsheet since it determines how well the tablet imports to your section. They highly recommend to take the time to review the table information located in Specsintact help files. To learn more about importing tables, see the help topic, Specsintact Web Help, SID, Editor, HEI, EDLI, Import, Excel, HTML. Alright, post-editing tips. If you have not been using the revisions, do not execute them. If you've been using the revision, do not execute them yet. If you finish editing, do not forget to use the spell check feature that you can also access the function of the editor's tool. In Chapter 6, you will learn how to do backup of the job and the good habit to use the tool at the end of each of the day. We will finish with editing some, remember backing and backing up. When you've learned from this chapter to edit the section of the job of the special Specsintact editor, always open the form in the Specsintact Explorer. Specsintact editor allows you to control the elements that are visible on the screen. Check the formatting, hiding the non-printing elements. Specsintact editor tag bar provides buttons easily inserting the tags which should never be typed manually. Specsintact advised the revisions temp feature to allow information that being added and deleted marked before these changes are actually made permanent. Editing shortcuts can make the editing quicker. Should you use the quality excellent still covered with the Chapter 5 periodically, edit with the spot mistakes, preventing repeating throughout the job, adding or deleting reference submittal with the special intact rules when followed. They enable the Specsintact automated features to work correctly when you finish editing. I'll always run a spell check, visual check, formatting, non-printing elements hidden. Chapter 5, Processing and Printing.